Okay, now this is the last video covering section 9.1, and we're going to begin with 44. So this is where 9.1 begins. A survey of 250 households, so that's N, showed that 92 owned at least one snowblower, so that's X, number of successes. What's a point estimate for the population proportion? Population proportion, guys, is a percent. The population proportion of households that own at least one snowblower. So the point estimate is called the p hat because it comes from a sample. It is by definition x over n. Always the larger number is at the bottom. So if you do 250 at the bottom and then 92 at the top, and then you should get, if you use your calculator, you should get 0.368. 45. Many people think that a national lobby's successful fight against gun control legislation is reflecting the will of a minority of Americans. A random sample of 4,000 citizens, that's N, yielded 200,280 who are in favor of gun control. Find a point estimate. Again, p hat is x over n, which is 2280 divided by 4,000. And if you do the math, it will be 0.5700 or 57%. 46. A university dean is interested in determining the proportion of students who receive some sort of financial aid. Rather than examine the record of all students, the dean randomly selects 200, so that's N, and finds that 118 receive financial aid. Find a 95% confidence interval. Okay, the confidence interval for the proportion is P between two values, between p hat minus E and p hat plus E. I'm going to show you how to do this using the calculator. I showed you in different videos that are embedded in the lesson and how to do it by hand and by the calculator, but for the sake of test, we're just going to use the calculator. Anytime you want to find an interval for the proportion, you go to one prop Z interval. It's very easy to use, and let me show you how to find this one. You click on stat, you go to tests, and you scroll down to one prop Z, not Z test, we're not doing test interval, it's letter A. This is the one that you use in this section. And now we enter X value, which is 118, N is 200, always N is the bigger one, and the confidence level is 95, calculate, and here you go, you got the interval. So P is between 0.5218 and 0.6582. Now, please listen carefully to this. If I ask you to interpret your answer in words, here's what you say. You say with 95% confidence, we can say that the true proportion of students on financial aid is between 52.18% and 65.82%. That's the language that you should write down if you're asked to write it down. 47. A survey of 700 non-fatal accidents showed that 308, so that's N and that's X, involved uninsured drivers. Construct a 99% interval for the proportion of fatal accidents that involved uninsured drivers. Same thing, guys. So I'm going to clear this one. And let's go. So it will be stat, tests, proportion Z interval. What's X here? 308. Again, don't mix X and N. 700. 99 now, change it to 99 and get the interval, and that's the interval. Let me write it down. P is between 3917 and 0.4883. Now if you are asked to write a conclusion here, interpret the interval, you say with 99% confidence we can say that the true proportion of non-fatal accidents that involve uninsured drivers is between 39.17%, it's nice to say it in percent, not the decimal, and 48.83%. 48. A pollster wishes to estimate the number of left-handed scientists. How large a sample is needed in order to be 99% confident that the sample proportion will not differ from the true proportion by no more than 3%? A previous study indicates that the proportion of left-handed scientists is 11%. Here's the formula, guys. You will be given the formula. P hat, Q hat, ZC over E squared. This is how you find the sample size. Okay. E is what's usually come after the word within. What's the margin of error? He said he wants the true proportion to be no different from the estimated proportion by more than 3%. So E is the 3%. He says a previous study indicated that the proportion of left-handed science is 11%. That's a P hat. 0.1. If you guys know P hat, then you know Q hat. Q hat is the probability of failure, which is 1 minus 0.11 will be 0.89. So what's left I need to find is to find ZC. Z depends, this is a critical value, depends on the confidence level. What's the confidence level here is 99%. So let me show you how to find Z. Z of 0.99. You do inverse norm. You always can do that and it will work. Okay, since the confidence interval is 99%, you subtract it from 100%. What do you get? 1% divided by 2, because the confidence interval has two tails, one on the right and one on the left. So again, 100% minus 99% will be 1%, which is 0.01. Divided by 2, it will be 0.005, and then you put comma 0, comma 1. And that should give you a negative 2.575, but you just use positive, you're going to square it anyway. So your n, guys, is going to be, now it's time to find n. I'm going to just do it here on the side. I got 0.11 times 0.89 times 2.575 over what? 0.03, and don't forget to square it. So let me just do the math on the calculator and show you. 0.11 times 0.89 times, open parentheses, 2.575 divided by 0.03 square. I got 721.26. For sample size, you have to round up, not round up. So 721.26 goes to what? 722. If this was a multiple choice, guys, you must select 722, not 721. You always round up, remember that. 49. A state highway patrol official wishes to estimate the number of legally intoxicated drivers on a certain road. How large a sample is needed in order to be 99% confident? We already know ZC, which is what? 2.575. We did the work. That the sample proportion will not differ from the true proportion by no more than 3%. So E is 0.03. Okay, let's use the formula. N is P hat Q hat ZC over E squared, which is, as you notice in this part, he didn't give me P hat and Q hat just like the previous question. If he doesn't give them to you, you use 0.5, 0.5 for each. So 0.5, 0.5. ZC, you already did it in the previous question, and E is 0.03 squared. Okay, let's just do the math. 0.5 times 0.5 times, open parentheses, 2.575 divided by 0.03, and then I'm going to square them. I got 1,841.84, round up, so it will be 1,842. Repeat part A, assuming previous studies found that 85% of the drivers on this road are legally intoxicated. So he gives us P hat this time. So P hat is 0.85, and now we know Q hat is 0.15. So you don't need to use 0.5, 0.5. So N would be 0.85 times 0.15 times, same thing as before, guys, 2.575 divided by 0.03 squared. So that will be, let me just do the math, 0.85 times 0.15 times 2.575 divided by 0.03 squared. I got 939.338, and you have to round it up, so that will be 940. Last question in the review. When 410 junior college students were surveyed, 115 said, so that's N, 114 said, 15 said that they have passport. Construct a 95% interval. Okay, so it's one prop Z interval. And let's prepare that. So I will move this forward, and let's do it together. So again, how do I go there? Stat, tests, scroll down to letter A, and then X is 115, N is 410, confidence level is 95, calculate. So I got, guys, 0.237 and 0.324. How do you interpret this answer? You say with 90%, 95% confidence, we can say that the true proportion of junior college students that have passport is between 23.7% and 32.4%. You will get all the formulas. If you want to use tables, you can use them, but feel free to use the calculator throughout, as you saw me demonstrating the use of the calculator. That ends the study guide.